I want to talk very briefly about 7 tools that we can use to prevent polarization in what I call the chasm of change. The chasm of change is that place in the bell curve of change. You got the innovators, you got the early adopters, then you get the early majority who come along with you. But between the early adopters and the early majority, there's often a big gap. And this is where polarization occurs. You got the people on the extreme end, the innovators, and the other extreme end, the laggards who don't want change at all, and they end up fighting. And I want to just give you 7 tips for overcoming those difficulties and the problems that happen. The first thing is map the potential responses that you expect prior to presenting the change. You've already made some ground with the innovators, you've made some ground with the people who adopt change. Now you're trying to get the whole body of people to do something. Kind of map out responses and plan for who's going to probably say what, who's going to oppose you, and be ready for that. The second thing is unmask your commitment with a metaphor. Tell that we're going to do this and we're going to do this for sure, and then use a metaphor to describe it. So when people attack, they don't attack the thing you're trying to do, they attack the metaphor. They just naturally will do that. It just kind of calms the room down a little bit and keeps things from getting personal. And then provide a projected timeline for change. And here I would add, make haste slowly. Don't pressure people. Projected timeline, not the final timeline. We're going to have a little flex in here, and we're going to go slow. We're going to pick up the stragglers as we go. Understand the how will this affect me concerns that people have. What I mean by the how will this affect me? Well, everybody's thinking, is this going to take away my position? Is this going to take away a certain kind of influence or power that I have in the church that you're leading or the business that you're leading? They're thinking about themselves, and you just got to kind of heal up the worries and help them. Go to the people who oppose you and address your opponent's concerns privately. Talk to them one-on-one. And the cool thing about this is that you get a chance to harvest. If they say anything positive, maybe they're upset with everything, but they say one positive thing, you got something you can go tell the next person who's been opposing you, and you can kind of go back and forth, and you can build a little momentum in favor of what it is that you're trying to do. And then just gather and spread any support that you glean from these people who are your opponents. They're not your enemies, they're your opponents. And make sure you keep that really clear, because it's so easy to enmify people in this kind of a situation. They're opposing what you're trying to do. They don't hate you, and you're not supposed to do this, hate in reverse. So, but take whatever you've gleaned from these people and use it to support the thing that you're trying to get done with the mass of people in the group that you're leading. And then lastly, find ways of undermining those people who are underminers. In other words, marginalize the underminers and those who are totally unwilling to move. Give them something separate to do. Find a way of maybe holding up some of the opposition, if it's rank opposition, things that they say, and make a little joke out of it. And you can just kind of push the problem people off into the corner. So here are 7 tools for motivating change in that chasm between the time when the innovators and the early adopters jump on something, you're trying to get the masses to go for it. You have this place where polarization often takes place, and you can solve these problems quite easily if you use these little tools. Thank you. I want you to just think about subscribing to this thing or going to my blog at ralphmoore.net, and you can usually catch what I've done on YouTube in written form. And sometimes there's a little more detail there, so you might want to check that out at ralphmoore.net. Thanks for taking time to watch this.